me being a coach on the baseball side back in the day, I think it's okay to have like a training aid, but like you can have too many, right? So I'm just curious for you guys. So for me, it was the tee, but for you guys, what is your go-to? What would it be, or what do you find yourself going back to?
So for me, so in golf, there's different things. There's teaching aids and there's training aids. I prefer using teaching aids because I want the student to understand the concept. If the student can understand the concept and the what and the why, then they have a better chance at trusting it and then being able to do it. Right? Because to me, the training aids sometimes are a band-aid. And what happens when the training aid's no longer there? How do you perform? Right? You still have to be able to use the club and swing it in the manner that you intend to. So I think the more teaching that can be gleaned and the more learning that can be gleaned from the aid, it's a better more useful aid or more useful tool than just something that would be a training aid that you just throw on your club and it helps you hit it better, but it doesn't teach you anything. Right. So there's a fine line of demarcation, but there is a difference. Like I can use an alignment stick or a pool noodle as a teaching aid. I can show them what the club path is. I can show them the radius of the club. I can show them attack angle with it. I can show them where their club face is actually pointed with it. But that's a teaching aid. You don't hit the ball with a teaching aid. You hit the ball with a training aid. You can't hit the ball with a training aid. So I prefer teaching because, again, I want them to understand. But if I had to say two things, probably the one thing that I have found that has a lot of success is just a rope that I made. It's a rope that you swing, and it teaches you how to swing versus hit or try to like pull it down or pull it forward, this, that, and the other, because you can't swing it that way. It won't work. So it teaches people to be more rhythmic, kinematic sequence, all that stuff. And then a good medicine ball or a kettlebell. I teach them how to use foot pressure using a medicine ball. How would you throw a medicine ball from low to high, right? Like a cable chop, low to high cable chop or whatever, or a medicine ball or kettlebell. Because the golf club is so light that when people can't sense the weight of it, their body gets all out of weight. They just pull with their hands or they try to throw with their hands. But you give someone a heavy object, a medicine ball, kettlebell, or you have them do a cable pull low to high, all of a sudden their brain goes, well, I can't just use my hands to do this, or I have to use my whole body to coil properly and fire, right? So, or to use the muscles efficiently. So but again, those are more teaching aids because they don't hit a golf ball with a medicine ball. They don't hit a golf ball with a rope, right?
So I'm going to sort of answer Mike's question by asking my own, because I've never really liked training aids, I guess, or training aids, I guess. There have been a few that I've liked, but at the end of the day, it frustrates me sometimes that I sit there and I put this training aid on and I strike it, but then when I take it off, I can't replicate it, right? There was a guy that I took a couple of lessons from at one point, and he was really big in these, I think he called them training stations, where you basically put alignment sticks in the ground in so many different places that it basically just creates a maze that unless you swing the club perfectly, you're going to knock the hell out of one of these alignment sticks. And to me, that didn't help me a bit, because all that taught me to do was to guide the club through the maze all the way up and then all the way back down. It just didn't work for me. And I think that's a reputable system. There are teachers out there that do that, but that just didn't work for me. I'm not trying to knock that entire process, but there is an idea or a concept, I guess, of let's put so many different training aids on that you're forced to swing the club the right way. And that's all fine and good, but it ends up feeling so backwards and out of whack for you while you've got the things on. And then when you take it off, your body can't replicate it. So what I've been trying to do more of here lately, that's kind of similar to what Tony was just describing, I've been doing it with resistance bands a little bit here at the house, is that I just try to figure out, like, okay, let's just take external rotation is something that Tony's talked about in a couple of videos and stuff before, where one of the keys to good impact is holding that external rotation. You can externally rotate in the backswing, which is just taking your arm and you're just rotating it this way, keeping your elbow in, but rotating it with your forearm away from your body. But then I've noticed here this week and just thinking about it, as I come back down through, I internally rotate it back, and being able to hold that into impact is part of what I'm working on. But then I can also take a resistance band and set it up either, hip high on our door, and then hold my hand out and externally rotate my forearm to hold that. But then you can do that several different ways. You can do it that way, or you can put it on the opposite side and use it to, hold that angle and rotate through it. But what I've been trying to notice as I do that is which muscles are firing to hold those angles. Which muscles am I using? I think that kind of gets back to some of those big kinesiology terms y'all have used, like proprioception, whatever the hell that word is. But but I'm trying to pay closer attention to which muscles am I using to be able to do these things. Tony, when you were working with me on my footwork the other day, you would use, I guess, what you were calling a teaching aid, holding the shaft in a certain place or putting the club on my feet and saying, this is what you need to do. And then I would pause and try to take inventory, I guess, of which muscles am I feeling right now, which ones am I firing, which ones are more passive, which are more active. And then I'll even, sometimes when I'm just at home at night or whatever, I'll get the resistance bands out and see what I can do to simulate that sensation somewhere or another. And it's kind of a 2-for-1. You're building the muscles that you need to use in the golf swing, and also in the process of that, training them to know what it's supposed to feel like.
Well, yeah. So going back to what you're talking about, where I would hold an alignment stick and I'd give you feedback on where you needed to be moving. The reason why that you can even pay attention to what muscles you're using is because it's not doing it for you. Your brain is an active part of the learning process. It's not being shut off because you're magically put into this position or whatever. You're magically swinging the club the right way because the training aid forces that, right? And that's what I'm saying. That's why I prefer the teaching aid, because it forces you to engage with it and to understand a concept. Once you understand a concept, then you can do something with it. If you don't understand a concept, you're just on auto. You're driving that car and it's got the lane assist for you. It's going to keep you in the lane. It's not going to let you fail, right? So that's what some of those training aids will do is, and they don't. Then you're not an active part of the learning process. You haven't learned anything. And I like I tell people all the time, even if you don't leave hitting the ball much better, my whole goal is that you learn something so that you can then build upon it.